and get some big victories. Now is the time to start proving that you can do it time and again, right? There's been a decent break from Pro League. There's a mental reset in there. They've gone away. They've played a bit of Tier 2. They've played a bit of Challenger League. And now they're back and they're eyeing up a group that's got MOUZ, Big, Entropic, Copenhagen Flames, you know, major qualified or close to major qualified teams. And they need to start proving that they can beat those guys at their own game again. And that's going to be the case as we start off on Ancient. Of course, MOUZ immediately relegated over to the T side.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be too worried. They'll have the chance to at least control the pace. Although the Ancient game that we seen earlier on today was pretty CT-sided. That just seemed to be the case in general for that previous matchup, though, considering we had such a similar effort and moving on towards Nuke. But as you can see, quite a few nades being purchased up. Dexter's gone heavy on them, especially Bymas as a smoke. And Movistar also going to be opting against purchasing the kit, so they'll be looking to land their shots and hopefully keep MOUZ off at his bomb site, off at these bomb sites rather in general. As you can see, for now, the bomb favored over towards B. There's 3 players on this B bomb site right now for Movistar, including the double setup in Cave. So this should be interesting once they find this fight.
I love it. Raid boss the dualies in the hands of some players as they look to take the control in towards Cave through JDC. It is going to be this delayed hit over towards the B site. Only the one smoke remaining on Dexter. That'll fly out towards short. Hope to lock off one of these angles, but it leaves long again wide open for the taking as they charge on up. Alex trying to bait JDC into that raid boss. Will get 1-for-1 at the very least, and now Sampaius' position is known. A very awkward one as he's stuck in the corner, and Bymas ripping the head clean off mopoz. They're going to go for the clearance here. It's Sampaius only able to grab the one. Needed a little more from the dualies there as 2-on-3, DeathZz and DeathZz. Well, these are really rough afterplots for them to try and break open. 2 players in the cave, Frozen swings for the kill, and Bymas is there to mop up the remaining pieces.
Yeah, and that's despite what looked to be a strong setup over on B. MOUZ just used those Glocks up close and personal, barged their way in, and didn't really give any hope on the retake then either. He can quite preemptively. Strong opening pistol. Just some pistols now in return from Movistar. Good nades at least behind it, considering it is just a force buy rather. And yeah, it looks like MOUZ will probably keep it kind of simple again. Similar to, I guess, how a lot of the anti-eco rounds were being approached in that previous game we had, where it was a lot of quick A-rushes. More so than we usually see on Ancient. A lot of the time you just see them being played off defaults. We had some different approaches definitely in that last game. Smoke's over. Pistols to try and defend. Unfortunately for JDC, I think he was flashed off the angle. Or, not JDC, rather, whoever that was in towards the temple. Either way, playing around the smokes hasn't been working too well until DeathZz gets one. That seems to be the limit that he was able to find. Unfortunately, nice shot by Alex. mopoz looked like he had his shot around the smokes there as well, with a little bit of a gap to maybe catch one of the players crossing, but sadly he wasn't able to get the shot off. All things considered, I mean, a couple of kills isn't too bad, but either way, MOUZ get their second round, and it should come with a third.
I'll take that for sure. A couple of kills, decent damage. Like you said, would have been hoping for the miracle, but aware when you take that kind of fight in towards the A site, it really is a statement from MOUZ. Happy to take the fights, knowing that that A site really doesn't have any cover to plant whatsoever, so you're just gambling on the fact that, yeah, your rifles are going to do better than the pistols, and your XX are going to be solid, and that's exactly what we saw there. Smooth sailing as Dexter, well, he finds himself without a gun. He's on the USP, no fully automatic rifle for him, and he's going for a little bit of a wander up mid as well. Flash out to take the fight into him. Sampaius will get the better of it. JDC, I think, was meant to be there for the trade. Sort of sold his IGL just a little bit short there. And off the back of it, they are going to absolutely storm their way over towards this B site. All 5 players ready and waiting. Held off for now by that smoke combination, but they're going to go through them. Nades, good damage onto the first, and through the smoke, torzsi will take advantage, deals with DeathZz. And again, at this point, it is the slaughter of default pistols up against the AKs. torzsi's a little rough around the edges on that. Spray does take a dink for his trouble, but again, 3 players out towards long. They're going to do what they can, and to be fair, these sprays are getting awkward now. DeathZz finds another. And if these players were low HP, it would feel very viable. JDC, the next to fall, is 2-on-1 for DeathZz, though, and on 32 HP. Not much more he can do with that default pistol. I'll tell you what, though, Dean, 3 kills. Magnificent from the CT side.
definitely more promising than some of the weaker buys and ecos and such that we had coming in from Fnatic in their match versus Entropic, where they just weren't even making it competitive, weren't able to do damage, and obviously that was leading the economy just getting out of control. So more promise in these opening moments. But MOUZ have already got a 3-0 starter on the T side of Ancient, so Movistar need to be coming alive here in this opening gun round. They've got Sunpius on the up, they've got everything they could ask for, and well, they have a very aggressive mid-hold right now. There was a bit of a gap around that smoke, I was going to say. Molly stopped anyone from being able to push around. They just wanted to show the initial presence here so that they're going to make MOUZ ideally work to come back in and get the control later in the round. The problem is they heard the timing of the fallback with the steps retreating into Donut. They decided to push in for that mid control, and they've pressed the issue over towards B as well, where Frozen's picked off the head of Alex, who got a little bit too adventurous. So that's going to be an early advantage. MOUZ are sitting with a 5-on-4, and they're going to have a chance to punish some further aggression that's coming in.
Movi have to try something. They're going to go for the ramp control here. Nobody really to flash them in, so it's a straight double peek. Freebie for torzsi. DeathZz will at least get one, but again, the trade immediately there. And at this point, should be the save for the CT side. That pick from Sunpius may start to tempt them back in, however, with JDC posted, looking the wrong way for this DeathZz push as well. Should be a free kill, even 2-on-2 now. The CT side looking to make something of this round. torzsi remains posted on CT, though, and that's going to start to be a problem. DeathZz does have the utility to force him back, and in fact he's fallen back of his own accord as the MOUZ look to set themselves into the afterplants. Cave control for Frozen. torzsi's got the ramp. It's a nice setup for the T side. No smoke either to stop that AWP from just peering into the site itself. The flashbang over the top will at least give him a second. Sunpius now posted on the angle, but that bomb's so far ticked, so far gone. DeathZz with the kit, nowhere near it, and at this point, without a frag being found, there's nothing more the CT side can do. Couple of nice picks in towards mid, very nearly tempted them into that retake, but the clock is their ultimate enemy. A fourth on the board for MOUZ, and like you said, Dean, already this T side starting to have legs, and on a map like Ancient, it really is starting to feel a little bit like those nukes of old, right? You get the pistol, you get a few rounds on the board, and already you're looking at that T side and thinking, yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, obviously, if they were to somehow still lose 11 rounds in a row at this point, you'd no longer really be thinking that. But it's just a great foundation to build off of, a great basis, I suppose, for them to continue working with. And, well, considering this is a buy here from Movistar, they have a couple weaknesses with the nades being somewhat lacking. And if a mass onto DavyG, which definitely isn't ideal. Either way, it's enough to make work for them to try and come alive. They do need to try and push the issue rather, understandably so. But MOUZ are taking their time. They haven't really been very quick at all on this T side. We've seen a bit of a faster approach against the weaker weapons, but when they're up against the rifles, they just want to hold for the aggression, as they seem to be expecting it. And indeed, that was the case for Dexter. He gets a dink off that M4, but the AK reigns supreme with the headshot coming in, and well, that's going to be a 5-on-4. Sure, it's not the most firm advantage, but they've got it for now, and that's what's important.
It's a useful one as well. You can see it split the CT side on the minimap, turtled up 2A, 2B. Nobody really in a position to rotate anytime soon. Forces some inventive thinking from the CT side. Alex gets boosted up on the boxes. This is a new one for me. Gives him a bit of an off angle in towards Dig. Gives him something to hopefully gain an advantage over, but MOUZ don't look too interested in that B site for now. 35 seconds left on the clock, and they are starting to head towards A. Sunpius could be key to this one. Posted for now, out of Temple into Long, and looking a little one-dimensional on the timings at the moment. Sunpius just posted. Doesn't take the shot the first time of asking. torzsi now going to take a leg up, and as the utility rains out, Sunpius trying to stick around. Can't quite land the shot. That'll open up the site as now torzsi starts posting himself. Sunpius has to back away. There's 8 seconds left, though, and torzsi's caught on the cross. 6 seconds. They've got to get that bomb down now, and the CT side know it. That's it. That's round one. Dropped bomb. One speculative shot through the smoke. The Movistar Riders have their first CT round.
That's not at all how you want to be losing it, but it does seem like the sort of thing that's going to happen with still a relatively new lineup. So I think we can forgive them at this stage, especially if they can bounce back quickly. 4 players surviving, though, for Movistar. That's what they needed. I think this is their timeout as well. It does seem to be. So they're having a bit of a chat. They realise, sure, we won that round out, but it really wasn't in a very convincing manner. We're not going to be able to win it out on time every round, especially with without actually having to do much to stop that bomb plant itself. But the actual buy itself here is pretty good. All the nades. They still have a FAMAS. Davies happy enough to hang on to it. And if they can win out this one, surprisingly, MOUZ's economy will be broke. Despite the initial few rounds being pretty successful, they didn't really build up all that much money.
Few rounds where they took some casualties. That full default pistol from the Movistar Riders where they get 3 kills really stands out to you. It's one where potentially would have been looking for a little bit more, a little cleaner from MOUZ, and then maybe not looking down the barrel of a eco off the back of this round going south. But DeathZz charging up, looking for the aggression and getting it again. Alex thinking about pushing down that ramp is punished. torzsi at least will trade. And that's actually lane control established as well, as torzsi spots out the jump peek at DaviG. Can't do too much about it. Through the molly, mopoz. Brave to a fault. Frozen will be able to at least trade it. Into an even 3-on-3 with the CTs gambling a heavy rotation again over towards this B site. Who can blame them? Had success in the previous. Holding on to A, hoping that that's warded this T side away. It does leave an isolated DeathZz. Bymas posted close main. Just waiting for the timing of a fading smoke. JDC with him as well. If they get this pick, A site wide open for the taking. And DeathZz just playing a bit of an off angle here behind the big box. Does he expect the boosted Bymas? He spots the gun barrel. Clean headshot through the corner of the box. He's got him. And now JDC actually looking a little isolated himself. Frozen was meant to be the rotator, meant to catch off the lurks. And he's got a job to do. Does find one. But with 35 seconds left, he needs to get into this A site now. Needs to give some support to JDC, who's desperately trying to make sure he doesn't drop this bomb before he gets into the site. Charge down. But DeathZz can't quite land the shot. And it's torzsi again. 1v2 on the AWP. No spam through the smoke this time. He knows JDC is brought down low, thinks about the pistol. But MOUZ are playing this clever. They tuck themselves into long. They boost a man up. They boost the low HP player up. Give him an off angle to play with. torzsi, no smoke. Molotov to potentially lock out one angle, but it's JDC from on high who deals with him. MOUZ, they lose 1 to the clock, but the response is immediate. 5th on the board, and again, you start to look over at that CT economy, and it's getting close to breaking point.
Yeah, and you've got to say that's pretty unfortunate there for DeathZz. If he just stays alive a couple extra seconds, even just gets the 1 kill, that's likely enough to delay that smoke from coming in. torzsi then maybe has the vision even to get the trade on towards DeathZz to ensure that they get the round win. Instead, he gets caught out up close, goes down, and yeah, torzsi was just in a pretty awkward spot. Unless he placed that molly perfectly in the boost spot, then he was pretty screwed. Either way, it's 5-1. MOUZ have bounced back. Alex goes aggressive down the ramp over on B. Okay. A little bit of a switch up. mopoz also with the cave aggression. It looked like it was going to work out, but no. DeathZz manages to recover. Alex, despite also having taken some damage, is willing to re-aggress into the cave and at least hold out for now and see if his opponent there in the form of DeathZz decides to venture any further forward. And well, doesn't look to be the case right now. Things are being played pretty passively. MOUZ, I think, are happy with the 1 kill, especially with how aggressive Movistar have been in pretty much all of these gun rounds so far. They've usually had some sort of countermeasure in terms of aggression, and, well, it wasn't exactly the case here, but an off angle for DavyG and on mid is punished.
MOUZ were leaning towards that mid retake, and now they're really throwing the kitchen sink at it. DeathZz, at least, will find DeathZz. Spamming through the smoke, gives his position away, but not traded. Despite 2 players being tagged low, this is still an even 3-on-3. torzsi has read the situation well. He's posted in towards the red room, jumping round the corner. JDC caught through the wall. This one starts to collapse a little bit for MOUZ now. DeathZz is still alive and kicking on this A site. Tucks himself behind the boxes. That really gives torzsi nowhere to go in terms of that AWP. He's trying to enable his teammate into a peek. torzsi spamming away, gives his life up. DeathZz can't quite land the shot again. 2 times out of 2, he's been asked to find a kill on that A site, and he's not quite delivered. Opens up the afterplant situation, and Alex tagged up in that early aggression down the B ramp. He's got to find 2 here, and he's not going to get any. torzsi posted, punishes the peek. The 6th round on the board, and that A site, it needs some reinforcing, because that's twice on the trot now that DeathZz has needed a kill and not quite found it.
Yeah, late round as well, when they're in these 2-on-2s and such. Perhaps just sitting on the bomb site isn't the way to go about it. We've seen the counter aggression in on mid and on B. Maybe a little bit of control around main in the future is something they might consider. Obviously for now though, unfortunately they just don't have the guns to really go for it. A bit of an eco coming in, some pistols and such at least being invested, but it's getting into desperate times at this stage, we've got to say. It is obviously the map choice here of MOUZ, but as I had said, Movistar at least are capable here. So I wasn't expecting it to be going this way, especially with MOUZ on the T side, just kind of running away with it completely. Good opening kill though, torzsi goes down. Sadly they can't get the weapon.
Yeah, Frozen, wise beyond his years, has backed that one out. Would mean they can take the lane control though. 3 players ready to peek on in, and you can see MOUZ playing very passively. They're expecting some aggression. Some Pius desperately looking into the smoke, spamming E. Wants nothing more than to grab himself an AWP and get something going in this one, but now it starts to get interesting. MOUZ want to retake the lane. They've got the mid control, at least initially. Flashing in, Frozen going to start swinging these angles. If mopoz can find another pick here and fall away freely through the cave, that would be huge. Spots them out instead and opts to back away. Bymas there for the punishment, and mopoz just wasn't expecting that. Thought he had more cover from mid than he did, and now these pistols under siege. He's again going to be the target, and again, MOUZ are slowing this right up, like you said, Dean, playing incredibly slowly into these rounds. And that has bought time for the rotation. It's bought time for a fast flank as well. DeathZz is going to be in towards cave before they know what's hit them, but Bymas looking to stabilize things. One big headshot. Alex inside the smoke. Frozen has no idea at all, and DeathZz P250 finds another. Chaos reigning on this B site, and JDC's planning for cave. They've got no control of that. DeathZz takes him down and takes Bymas as well. It's the pistols, and it's MOUZ insistent on the slow play. It comes back to bite them as Movistar Riders get a second out of nothing.
Yeah, I think MOUZ are getting very comfortable with just playing the default because it's been working. I mean, what, second round maybe we've seen them go a bit quicker out through A main. Other than that, though, they've just played the default with a little bit of a lean over towards B and have hoped to play off of the picks, which in this case kind of played into what Movistar wanted. Pistols dodgy around the smokes, it works out for them. Good work. I mean, that's a massive lifeline to find, especially since it now completely breaks MOUZ onto an eco. They'll be able to get a decent buy in the next round, but JDC I think will maybe be lacking a little bit. Even then, it just gives Movistar a massive opportunity. Take this next gun round, suddenly they're on 4, another gun round ties it up, and you can just see your way back into the game. It becomes at least viewable and doable. Good work by DeathZz. This time stand strong on the A-bomb site. It's against the pistols, sure, but a few extra kills is always nice. Get the confidence flowing once again.
Movi take the ball and run with it. One gift of a round. MOUZ taking it too slow. The next, yep, flawless. All 5 players alive, giving nothing up to those pistols. Exactly what the CT side needed. A little bit of a shore up of the economy. You can see DeathZz building up a nice little bank now himself. And like you said, this buy, while it's a buy, it's not perfect. Bymas has dropped the AWP over to torzsi, so he's got no utility. JDC's down onto the Galil. The early lane take utility from the CT side has been excellent so far. 3 Molotovs. Nowhere that Frozen can step without being burnt alive, and he's being spammed through the smoke. Meanwhile, they've taken it completely and utterly. Frozen hustling with the long player in the form of Alex, yet to find the kill though. And mopoz has managed to post himself on a very nasty angle here. Neither of these players expecting it. He doubles up, and there's nothing Frozen can really do about it because he's held in by DeathZz. A perfect set in towards that lane control early from the Movistar Riders. Bomb down inside of the smoke, whether they see it or not, I'm not sure, but they've got all the information in the world. 3 big kills to go with it, and for JDC and Bymas, well, it's just picking up table scraps at this point, really.
I love watching this Movistar when everything's just kind of fitting together. All their pieces are coming together, and they just look so smooth, especially with those more aggressive plays that they go for. mopoz, I'm not sure how he got away with such an easy 2k, but that's how he made it look anyway. Bymas and JDC, are they looking to save? It does seem fairly likely considering they both only have $100. Still 30 seconds left. I don't think Movistar are too worried about hunting them down though, even though they have pretty decent money themselves. Yeah, at this point, I think they're just saying, yeah, keep your 2 weapons. We'll happily live with 5. We'll put ourselves in a good position moving forward. And even if you have a couple of rifles in this next round, we'll handle you relatively easily. Or at least that'll be the hope anyway.
Nice round to find from Movi. Shows a lot of intent in towards that lane as well, right? MOUZ can't really disrespect it the way they have been through Frozen, that round where he picks off Alex out long. That's no longer really viable. We've seen the set utility. We've seen those 3 Molotovs completely locking out the lane initially. We've seen the late smokes flashes to re-enable their peaks. So first timeout comes in from MOUZ. Got to work out how to unpick that puzzle. Like you said, when Movi get it right, it does feel like all the puzzle pieces falling into place. And it's the job of MOUZ and their coach to try and throw all those pieces off the table and make it chaotic again. Bymas going to come in off the back of this as well. Looking to force around the AWP and the AK that was saved from the previous.
Kind of surprised they actually went
for it. Big call. Yeah, 2,900 loss bonus as well. You would have been looking at a buy in the next one. It's a big call to make, especially when, like he said, they've not had a massive amount of success since that pistol round went wrong. They've only really got 2 rifles into this one as well, so you've got to have a plan here if you're MOUZ Sports. It feels like they've got to have some kind of set play that they want to pull out. It looks like that set play was going to be in towards A long initially, but the Molotov deep from the CT side has stalled that for a while.
Bymas really has been the one leading the way, so maybe the fact that he's 12-4 and has one of the rifles has influenced them to go for it alongside the op. Definitely could be part of the reason. AVG is about to spot Dexter in on mid. Never mind, the Tech 9 is way too quick. Barely even any damage gets done. What an open, and DeathZz is going to be blinded up back on A as well, so he gets forced out of position. Still manages to come away with 3 kills somehow. Despite the molly going down, it was just a little bit too late. And despite his eventual death, Sunpius is there for revenge, so it's 5-6. Yeah, I mean, another note, I guess, on the fact that Bymas is performing quite a bit better than everyone else on the team is that you'd expect that to be a positive on the T side, not on the defense once they swap over. So I think that indicates that we'd probably want them for sure to pick up another round or 2 here on the T side.
Definitely feels like something they were capable of, at least initially. Wheels have come off it somewhat recently, but half buy into this one. Handful of Deagles, P250 for torzsi. Can, of course, to get that AWP at the next available opportunity. And again, you see this lane utility come out. 3 Molotovs thrown by the Movistar riders. Full control taken. Deep smoke allows Alex with mopoz in tow to peek in. It gives them scaffolding. Gives them a lovely angle to peer down in towards mid as well and just fully clear all of this control away. It's what makes this map so CT-sided, the ability to take huge swathes of control with no real consequence. A good set of utility and you've got it for free. See it here with a minute left on the clock. There's 2 flashes remaining on this T side and they are, well, about 10 meters away from spawn in all honesty. Couple outside of B, couple outside of mid. Pinned in. We'll hope to get at least a couple of kills out of this round, but at the moment you sort of struggle to conceive how they could manage it. Resmoke goes in again, 45 seconds left on the clock. This is brutal by Movi. They're going to have to go through this with a pot flash, and it's actually blinded them up more than it has DeathZz. He gets 2 for free, and this round, well, it falls by the wayside without so much as a whimper. Bymas last up. Wants 1. We'll get it. Nice headshot onto Alex at the very least. He knows he's pinned in by the AWP. He's desperate to bait that shot out of him, but mopoz is there to back his man up. And yeah, 4 pistols, 1 kill found. It's not the worst trade in the world, but you can see that Movi are starting to frustrate MOUZ just a little bit.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you were saying there, what could they do with the pistols? I was thinking, what would let them find success? I was thinking chaos, but Movistar kind of excel at stopping that from happening, especially how they approach those anti-ecos. So just good work. 6-6, we're tied up. Not really what we were expecting after MOUZ's initial stretch of rounds. So definitely a shout out for the recovery now here from Movistar Riders. Question is, can they keep it up? Can they maybe even extend this up to a 9-6 lead? That's got to be the goal, as AVG took quite a bit of nade damage there in the beginning. So that's not ideal. It did force him back from the slightly more aggressive angle he wanted to take in on the Cubby. Instead, pretty much forced to give it up. They'll just be spotting for a little bit of info and over in towards Ali. In the meantime, Frozen gets an opening kill. That lets them split in towards Ali now if they want. They should be able to start taking the cave control. At the very least, it's forced the player who was pushed up in cave to fall back off, not wanting to give away any more lives. So it's a strong start for MOUZ. Probably the best they've had into a round.
Little bit of magic from Frozen, missed shot from Alex. It's the first time in a while Movi have found themselves without that mid-control early, right? The nades do so much work to DeathZz. He has to fall away. JDC happy to occupy that space, and now the B site. They've done a solid job of holding it, Movi, but generally it's been holding from the lane and not from deep inside of the site itself. Mopoz going to be the first issue. Frozen, a little bit of magic again, has found a second. Sumpire solo in towards this B site. It's a nice Molotov. It splits the offensive, and Frozen, low HP, has to go. DeathZz able to punish that as well. And somehow they've wrestled this back into an even 3-on-3 Movi. torzsi doing all he can to deny it. Big shot, and he doubles it as well. DeathZz just a little too keen on the peak, and that's it. Or at least it should be. DeathZz tucked into dig, thinking about some control. But realistically, just looking at denying these rifles the exit, and that's the difference, right? That's what we're talking about in the pre-game. You've got this perfectly structured, control-based game from Movi, and then you've got magic, and that was magic from Frozen to get 2 entries.
DeathZz is hoping for some exits. He'll get himself 1. Damage at this point obviously is going to be a little bit more valuable to Movi since they have quite a bit of money going into these final few rounds. So if DeathZz could have taken 1 or 2 more with him, he would have been very happy. That's not going to happen. Instead, picking up an AK. As you said, great round by Frozen. That's what we need. We need someone else to wake up alongside Bymas. Ideally, we need Bymas to find his form again here because he has cooled off a little bit other than that Deagle round we've seen there recently. Or at least the couple of Deagle exits he got towards the end. MOUZ have found their 7th round, at the very least confirm a somewhat equal half, which, considering things have begun to slip away from them, was beginning to look less and less likely. So at the very least, a strong T-side has been found. The question is, can they make it a really good T-side if they could find these final 2? Frozen's in trouble. He is burning to bits, and eventually, yeah, gets spammed down by Alex. Looked like there was a good opportunity for Sunpius to make it an even bigger advantage there with that aggression in through cave. Doesn't land the shot, and thankfully just decides to concede because they already have a solid advantage. Fall back, play things a little bit safer at this point because it's MOUZ who are feeling the pressure.
This B site really does play into the strengths of the Movistar Riders initially. That utility set is flawless. You can see Frozen just desperately trying to find anywhere he can stand that isn't A, spammable, or B, on fire, and there just doesn't exist any square inch of space. Nice opening pick again, and it's allowed for these rotations. It's allowed for a 3-man B play. Sumpires posted in towards cave with the AWP as well. As they wander up into this B side, the utility will give them a little bit of breathing room. JDC blinded up though, and Sumpires playing around that pillar brilliantly too already. Can't quite land the quick scope, but his teammates are there to back him up, and torzsi, well, he's got 1. Needs 3 more to really make this around, and, well, 30 seconds, he's tapping the bomb. He's desperate for somebody to peek him. The smokes now have faded, and DeathZz up close and personal will level things out at 7 apiece. Movi again looking very solid on the defense. And MOUZ once more just getting a little stumped by that opening control or lack thereof on their side.
Yeah, I mean, even just the op shot that was rang off from around cave initially from Sunpius, it delayed them, slowed them down, had them questioning if there was going to be any further aggression. And obviously Sunpius was just waiting back in for them on that B-bomb site once they did finally get a move on.
Oh,
7-7, JDC down to 7 as well. It was an unlucky number. I believe it might be in some cultures as well. Definitely was for JDC. Either way, an opening advantage goes the way of Movistar Riders. They have continued aggression to get all this control in towards the alley as well, and I don't think Frozen has quite realised it. Dexter might even be spotted creeping forward. No, not quite. AVG may not have gotten that info, so Sunpius could be in a bit of trouble right now. If they get the time in here, Dexter catches that player in towards Donut. Suddenly it leaves DeathZz alone on the bomb site with an op, and he can get overrun. This could still be a winnable round here for MOUZ.
They need that opening pick, though. It's DeathZz on the secondary AWP. Fires off a shot. Can't quite land it. Legs at the second time of asking, but Dexter's dealt with him. And now Sumpires alone. Another big flick onto Bymas this time. Keeps the man advantage the way of this CT side. DeathZz makes it 2. Frozen doing all he can on a recovered AWP. Actually picks off 2. Drags his team back into this round kicking and screaming, and he's got Temple on lock here. mopoz on an incredibly long flank, and that's going to be the key to this entire round at this point. Alex has no interest in peeking till his teammate is there. And nobody seems to be expecting this. Frozen with his back turned to long should be a free kill. Just a matter of time before he's found, and they're starting to isolate this now. mopoz deals with torzsi. That gives the info to Frozen, but he's stuck in towards Temple in a 1v2. Switches to the tech, and he can't quite connect it. 8-7, the narrowest of leads as we go into the half, and we'll have to see if they can convert it after the break.
Broken bones and a bloodstained flag. Open road and nomadic plans.
Time 8-7 up as they move on to their offensive half, and well, it's a lead, but you have to say on Ancient it doesn't feel like a lot whatsoever. One pistol goes south and this could very quickly break down.
Oh, for sure. We were talking about it in our off time there. Even Movistar seemed to be kind of chugging along throughout that half. Definitely done a decent job at recovering. It wasn't the sort of convincing CT side we'd expect to see out of them, or we'd need to see out of them, rather, if they were to get this win. It is going to be this A push, of course. Didn't really make any noise until that smoke goes down, and even then, don't move all that quickly. The rotations will begin from MOUZ, but they don't look 100% certain, so they are a little bit slower than I think they would like to be. As the bomb goes down, we're going to have a 5-on-5 retake. This doesn't happen all that often, with only even a small bit of damage being dished out.
Only a couple of flashes for the CT side to get in. No smokes to isolate the angles. Is going to make this retake absolutely hellish. And torzsi, well, he feels it early. Dinked up. Dexter the next to take a bullet to the skull. They're trying to get onto that bomb. It's going to be Dexter actually to stick it down. The long player needs to swing and needs to do it now. And there it is. DeathZz takes the diffuser away. JDC and Frozen find a couple of kills in response. And Alex is left alone. That bomb is a long way gone, but he needs to find the kill. He does. There's a kill on the ground, and that should leave them with just enough time. I think it's going to be right down to the wire. But MOUZ have made the retake stick. It was absolute chaos on that A site. But they just about get it over the line. They get themselves that pistol. And for Movi, it's a big call to make into the second round. They got that bomb down. Do you look for the force? It looks like that is going to be the call. Galil's out, but it means you're short on utility.
Yeah, I mean, when Mac 10 is scouting there as well to ensure that they do have some nades. Honestly, the nades are kind of the least of their worries right now. The weaponry on it just honestly isn't all that great. Sure, they're not against M4s, but 3 FAMASs, couple MP9s, a bit more secure with their mollies and such behind the utility that they have, rather than it just being smokes and flashes. See what can be done here from Movistar. Scout is definitely an interesting choice on the T side of Ancient. They're holding a pretty passive default. It seems like they're expecting MOUZ to go aggressive, but if you're MOUZ at this point, you realize that the force play is pretty likely off the back of obviously the bomb going down in the pistol, so you just don't really need to give them an inch.
Yeah, happy just to sit off, play occasional info peeks. You saw Dexter flashed into the ramp there. Just get some idea of what's going on, because information really is critical on a map like Ancient. You need to know those rotations. Very nearly saw it backfire on the pistol. MOUZ will not want a repeat of that. Conceding the mid control though. Smoke goes deep in towards red, allows that control to be taken. And again, you can see MOUZ a little cautious, not quite willing to call the bluff on the rotate just yet. Still a man lurking in towards mid as well in the form of DeathZz, as Movi once more set up for this A site hit. They've got no more utility left whatsoever. It's run and gun till death do you part at this point for Movi. 3 players in towards Donut, 1 out long. And they've just got to stick the landing and straight bodies charging into this site. JDC opens things up, spots Alex, deals with him as well. And as much as Sunpius gets one, they still need to deal with JDC. The trades have left him alive and kicking deep in towards CT. Half HP, he's flashed in, charges through, and DeathZz deals with him. Now this gets awkward as DeathZz finds a triple. Already as Dexter is left in the 1v2. There's a low HP bar to his left and he'll find it. But he takes a dink in the process, and now with just single digits, Sunpius knows he's just got to wait for this peak, wait for this timing, and rip the head clean off. Movi find their 9th, and it's just a brawl once again. They are just willing to scrap their way into that A site.
Yeah, I'd said I wasn't too worried for them, but apparently I should have been. Got to wonder if maybe JDC pressed the issue a little bit too much when they had the 3-on-2. You've got to know that the one player who's alive is very likely going to be covering the cross for his teammate getting the bomb down, of course. I think maybe hanging on and trying to play out that 3-on-2, waiting for the player to come around through Temple first would have been the way to approach it. Instead, now they're on a force buy of their own, which really doesn't look all that good. Movistar being given a ton of room as well to just take all this map control as they please, as they wish. As Bymas is about to step out into the open here, leaving himself exposed. I don't think realizing there's a player up close on the right. mopoz decided not to pounce on it, which was clearly the correct decision considering Dexter had his back covered, but I think he might have had the chance of maybe catching the shoulder or so without actually giving himself up. Either way, patience for now being shown, and once the smoke does fade away, I don't think Bymas will want to stick around for too much longer. Actually just backing off now. A lot of knives being shown, hoping maybe it'll deter them away from there for now, or perhaps give them a chance to take a bit of a gamble stack. I thought they were going to rotate off of B. That's what it seemed for a moment.
Hoping maybe even that it just uses a little more utility as Movi do start to retake in towards Dig. Molly goes out. Just hoping they burn a few more nades. Well, it's not a bad result. Of course, with these kind of force buys, you are hoping for the miracle. And, well, heavy stack over towards this B site feels indicative of one flash in, but it doesn't blind up DavidG. Not that it matters. Dexter, run and gun, spams the deagle for one, and he's got a second as well. DeathZz has gone down. They've got full cave control now. JDC Swing and Winder's got a third before there's any kills coming out for the Movistar Riders. mopoz doing what he can on the Mac 10, has managed to grab a double. And for a moment, there's peace and quiet. mopoz continuing to drive by, but this time he will be traded, and it's Sunpius. A 1v2, there's no kit, no utility. His CT side have just got to find the kill and get into that site sharpish. Fosen has killed most of the early corners, taps the bomb, baits him wide, dinks his man, and torzsi is there to finish the job. The force buy for the CT side matches, if not bests, that of Movi in the previous. The defuse will come through. It's a 9th round on the board, and this is just a slugfest on Ancient now.
It's getting ridiculous. torzsi doesn't even have Kevlar to get that one done when he finishes it out, but he's able to win out the 1v1 and bring MOUZ up 9-9. They had so little to that force buy as well. torzsi, who had, I believe, saved for the long run, is able to come in and just get himself loads. He dropped over, I believe, one of the weaker weapons to his teammates and given MOUZ a chance to very likely just take the lead back, because it's actually going to be a full eco for Movistar. They weren't facing the double eco, thankfully, so they're willing to pretty much just concede this one, only buying a single P250 on Alex. And with a straight up A rush, that Nate done some decent damage, not as much as it was looking to maybe do, but they still aren't able to overrun JDC, unfortunately. Now he's got backup as well, so he just doesn't have to show himself. Ensure none of the weapons go down, and indeed torzsi deals with the final 2. It's double digits for MOUZ, they've got 10. This is their map choice, a reminder, so they ideally would want to be winning for sure. But they are up around here, favoured on the CT side, beginning to take back some of the control. If they can overcome this gun round here from Movistar, then I think that's when Movi have really got to start worrying.
This is where it gets interesting, right? As you said. The rifles are out. Whoever wins this one, likely to break the economy of the opposition. The CT side's got a little more cash in the bank, but not a lot. DavidG lurking that scaffolding. He wants the peak. Knows that they've lost mid-control, however, so just reins it in. MOUZ will back away from it, though. With that utility starting to run out, the smoke's starting to fade. They don't want to hang around more than they're welcome. Happy just to reset into their respective sites, and it gets down to this kind of a brawl. You have to say the T-side firepower does look a little better Up in the hands of some pious handful of AKs as opposed to the 3 FAMAS that MOUZ have brought out. It to be retaken as well, and you can see Movi just starting to stretch their legs here. They've got the mid control, they've got a man lurking A, they've taken lane. They've got the freedom to execute pretty much wherever they choose. It's just a matter of how much utility they've got to do it.
They've really got to get a move on. Time's beginning to run out on them, and well, nades-wise, there's still a little bit from that CT side. JDC, I believe, one of those players on A as well, does actually have a smoke, so they should be able to delay at least a small amount here. Frozen's going to be also in position to likely just set up the crossfire. I mean, if they get even 2 kills here as they come forward, drop that bomb, that could be enough to let them get the players in position to try and just win it on time alone. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be working out in that regard. Alex needs to get more kills if he wants to make this happen. And he hits a nasty shot on Dexter, living on a single point of health, and then gets the bomb down as well. But it's going to be Sun Pius, I think, most of the work that remains that it's going to fall to. Never mind. Somehow Alex gets himself another. Bymas crouches into the angle. It's going to be torzsi who eventually trades it back. But now, unaware of where I believe Sun Pius is for sure. Has narrowed it down, obviously, since he hasn't been shot at from main. Yet to spot him out, only now getting the vision, and Sun Pius on the op only needs to land the one, of course, and it's going to be a pretty straightforward shot at that point. It's 10-10. We're tied up again. Movistar managed to bring it back on, bring themselves back on track. The problem is, living with a single player leaves them with a very, very weak economy. Somewhat on par, I guess, with what MOUZ are working with, though, so.
It's not great for either side, to say the least. Alex pulling out the heroics in that one. Huge kills inside of the site, single point of health, and still finding headshots to buy them the time they need. Ancient continuing to just be a bit of an arm wrestle. Neither of these teams really able to establish themselves, both landing punches, but neither quite finding the killing blow just yet. Big opportunity for both sides, you have to say now. Loss bonus, essentially nothing for both of them. Neither with any money left in the bank coming off the back of this, so if whichever side takes it, huge opportunity, hard economic reset for their opposition. You have to say again, Movi, that T-side economy is coming in swinging a little bit harder here. Dexter drops down to the MP9 on MOUZ to make sure he's got that extra little bit of utility. FAMAS for JDC as well. It just means, again, with the lack of nades, you can see, last round we see MOUZ fully stretching their legs into mid, full control taken. Late retake coming in from Movi, and the time very nearly undoing them this occasion. Just no nades available for MOUZ to try that play. Almost have to immediately turtle up into the sights. The only aggression comes in the form of Bymas, who through the smoke has managed to find mopoz. That's a big opening to pick off as well. Dexter wants more off the back of it, but how aggressive can you really be with an MP9 in hand? Tucked into the cave, he spots DeathZz early, spray down connects, any more is a bonus. Alex will be able to take him down in response, but the man advantage is there now, and you can see the CT side have got a sniff of what's going on. They're retaking into mid through JDC and Frozen, and if Bymas and torzsi can hold on to this site for another 15 seconds, they've got this T side pinned in. Little do they know, but they are being flanked out all the while. The bomb's still on death, still outside the doors. They could potentially even deny the cross. And with 30 seconds left, that could be criminal. Frozen on the backstab gets one, and it's completely thrown Movi for a loop. Yes, they've got Alex in towards cave, but they've not got the bomb anywhere near him. DeathZz is having to play this so cautiously to join his teammate. And all the presence is here. Alex does a fantastic job, though. Rips Bymas clean out of the round, and torzsi now solo in towards this B site, flashed off his angle, will at least concede the plant. Alex aggressive on the angle, needs another big kill here as torzsi is starting to think about swinging it. Walks into the crosshair but lands the shot, and it's DeathZz on 5 HP. He's found the first but nothing more. MOUZ will win another epic arm wrestle of a round, and that's a round that will completely break the Movistar Riders economy.
It seems like Alex is the only one at the moment trying to push them forward. He keeps hitting some nice entries, but taking a ton of damage in the meantime as well. It doesn't make it sustainable for him to truly push, do it all on his own. Meaning the trades back and forth again begin to favour MOUZ, similar to what we had seen throughout that previous half as well. It's going to be another full eco, few pistols. Maybe they can just about afford them. They have 1900 loss bonus, so I thought we'd maybe see the likes of mopoz maybe buying some P250s or something. Same with DeathZz. Probably could have at least had something to try and do some damage in this round, but looks like they're happy enough on the Glocks. 2 P250s I think are actually available. So really just 1 to 2 kills is what they're aiming for, but it's getting to that stage now where if they don't win out this next gun round, then it's going to run away from them. So it's come and do or die, basically.
Very much reaching that stage. This one, of course, should be more of a formality than anything else. torzsi going to be pressured in towards mid. Does miss his first shot. Has to be a little cautious here, but going back in against the pistols, just farming away. He grabs himself the double. And as much as JDC for a split second was caught with his gun in his pocket, he's still able to get it out in time. It's a nice smooth sailing round for MOUZ, not really taking any damage at all. They get their 12th. They get their little cushion. And like you said, Dean, right at the death, this is starting to slip away from Movi. If this rifle round goes south, they've not left themselves anything to rebuild from realistically. What's the call to be made? They have pauses if they want them. Not going to take them, however. It looks like MOUZ are going to start contesting for lane control. Deep smoke goes in. Molotovs to follow it. This is almost the exact same set we saw thrown by Movistar. But this time the smokes to counter it are good. mopoz has managed to get his way all the way to the scaffolding early. The CT side haven't managed to wrestle control of the lane. It has, however, bled a lot of smokes out of this T side early.
And they've only got 2 remaining. That was still well over 1 minute and 20 seconds on the clock. As you said, it's been effective at running down the utility, and now they're going to go in for more. Deep smoke, a flashover for DeathZz to take the peek. He's actually going to be preoccupied by the spam. Probably for the best, to be honest. If he peeked any further, there was 2 players waiting for him that I don't think were even blinded up, so it may have weirdly worked for him that he took that spam damage, so that for now, at least, he does stay alive. Either way, a similar approach from Movistar as to what we got from MOUZ. Most of the focus outside B, waiting out those initial nades. We're not really seeing MOUZ being as aggressive here on their CT side as what Movistar were going for, but we'll see how that works out. This time it means they don't get as much info as this push comes into B. Caught off guard completely. Davi and Sunpius are able to deliver open and headshots. Frozen, sure, he pulls one back. Unless another kill goes their way here, then they're going to be outmatched as the bomb goes down, and it's going to be even worse as Davey G gets his 2nd of the round. Surely that means the save's called for, and yeah, that seems to be the case. They're backing away. They'll carry over the 2 weapons. They'll have enough for a full buy in the next round, sure. But Movistar, importantly again, win the round that they really, really need to.
That's a massive call from Movi as well. Just a contact, essentially, up the ramp. The smoke, yes, it comes, but it comes very late into proceedings. Already 2 players high up the ramp, and you could see it caught Dexter completely off guard. Nade in hand, no idea they were going to be so close. It's a free gift of a kill, and at that point, solo player holding the B site. Maybe you could say he needs to get 1 there, but realistically, you're covering half a dozen angles, you're being charged out, there's nothing you can do. Big round to win as well for the Movistar Riders. Like we said, right at their breaking point, they're able to find something. Back of the strat book, the contact up B. It's not something you normally see Movi pull all that often, just straight contacting. It works out absolutely perfectly, and it's going to put MOUZ again back into this make or break situation financially. 2 saved rifles help a lot, but it's not going to completely alleviate the economic pressure as the buy comes in. Does at least mean they've got the utility as again, Movi fast this time up the B ramp, just looking to charge on into the B site, and there's nobody home. CT side, they were looking for the dig aggression, they were looking for dig control. Bymas has charged out of dig, in fact, and grabbed 1. Frozen, flashed in, found another out of nowhere, and it's just about starting to trade back the way of MOUZ. Bymas blinded, finds another. And well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. MOUZ were not going to fall for that again. Even quicker than the last round, but they were ready. They were waiting. The flashbangs back in were excellent. DeathZz has to back away, has to consider saving that AK-47, and MOUZ again. Right when they're on the ropes, it's almost the exact same story as Movi. Right when it starts to hit breaking point, they come out with a big round and a big statement on B.
Yeah, I felt like they thought they had a bit of a weakness to exploit there on B after obviously how the previous round had gone down. And honestly, it seemed like they did. As you mentioned, the cave aggression was in early, so there was no one actually ready on the bomb site. But a bit of a wild play from Bymas snatches back some control and it suddenly put Movistar on the back foot. That's obviously left saving his AK, should at least carry that over. No one's going to look to hunt, but we're going to have a bit of downtime here to, I guess, understate it. But this is a very worrying position now for Movistar. They'll be able to just about scrape together a buy, I believe. But if that one doesn't work out, it's up to 14 for MOUZ then most likely. And the question is, will it have to be an eco at that point then to try and play for an overtime? To be fair though, we do need to remember, of course, that this is MOUZ's map choice. Inferno up next is one that Movistar should, in theory, feel more comfortable on. But it's a pretty decent map for both of the teams. So I don't think we'd be counting MOUZ out by any means either, even though they don't play it. Well, they actually play it a bit more often than Ancient. They just don't really have the same level of results, I suppose. Although every one of their games on Inferno is also really close. They tend to always run into double digits whether they win or lose.
It's one of those ones where everyone can play a little bit of Inferno. MOUZ pretty solid at it. It's just Movi tend to be a little closer to perfection. Run boost up to take scaffolding this time for torzsi, but it's again fast B pop, and this time there's no counter flashes. Dexter blinded up, does very well to even find one. They want to retake fast, but this time Bymas is punished. Well, I said it last round, fool me once, fool me twice. Movi have just charged back up B again, knowing that MOUZ won't expect it twice on the trot, and it's worked out absolutely perfectly here. Man advantage, Frozen trying to do what he can to stop that. Has found one, and JDC grabs another in towards short. This becomes viable now. They've got utility. They've isolated the long player. torzsi holding down towards the ramp, but they've got to get on that bomb sharpish. Frozen spam down. He's going to stick the defuse. He knows some Pious' spam isn't quite going to connect on him. torzsi's got his back down the ramp, and that is a beautiful retake orchestrated by MOUZ. Just straight winning fights. They lost the B site, but they retook it in swift fashion. A 14th. Movi wondering what more they can do. They tried, they failed. They took the B site on the second time of asking, but they still can't quite hold on to it on the retake.
Yeah, that was wild, as you said. Bymas actually giving that push through the smoke a go again. The fact that it still works out then. Frozen patience paid off for him to get that push in towards cave. And then obviously some good nade placement to isolate the fight on towards ramp while the defuse came in. Strong kill by Dexter. Good damage done in the opening moments as well with those nades just piling in on top of Alex and also mopoz, who took some damage in the background. Although they will kind of have mid-control. JDC is still hanging around for now, just playing info, wanting to know if anyone crosses into Donut pretty much. So it'll give them access over towards B, in towards the alley at the very least. And that does seem to be the focus. They've got most of the players here. They've had the bomb move back around as well. And I was gonna say, in a 4-on-5, maybe there is still some hope for something to happen, especially with only two ready on the B-bomb site. But one player was caught in transition across mid. DeathZz then wanted to see if he could maybe take that fight in return and get something for them before they start pushing in towards B. Unfortunately, the round just continued to spiral out of control, and now it's Alex and Sun Pious who have already called for a save, it seems, yeah.
Yeah. They've got no choice. They really haven't. It's one hell of a round to make that kind of mistake in. JDC just dry out mid. Not one, but two huge headshots from the youngster. For some Pious and Alex, yeah, it's the save call again, because you look over, DeathZz has got 150. Same for mopoz. DeathZz is flat broke on the T side. With limited loss bonus to work with, it's going to be one hell of a pull to get them back into this on the T side of Ancient. MOUZ again. Feels like they're just starting to warm up at the big moments. They threw that same early util to take the lane. This time Dexter gets a pick. JDC feeling it, able to find a couple. As that clock runs dry, we start to look at the finances. Yeah, 2550 for DeathZz, 2400 for DeathZz. It is an awful buy here. They're going to have to take the pause to try and work out what they want to do with it, because you have to think about every penny here. There can be no misbought utility. Every nade has got to have its purpose. Meanwhile, on the mouse sport side of things, they can be dropping rifles, buying pistols. They can buy Zeus's if they want. They're absolutely flush with cash.
The economy is definitely not going to be an issue anyway. Not for MOUZ. It's a big problem for Movi. Again, we haven't really seen a ton of pauses being used. In our previous match versus with Fnatic and Entropic, there was like, what, one tactical pause from Fnatic on each map. I think Entropic threw in a tactical pause on the second map for good luck as well. Teams seem confident that they don't need those timeouts, apparently. We did get one here, but was that our first tactical we've gotten here so far?
Nah, we've had another. We've had a couple.
They blend together sometimes. A lot of the time I'm just kind of too busy focused on you speaking, Wolfie, your beautiful voice, you know? Get lost in a trance. Good wallbang damage onto Davey right there. A little bit unfortunate. Puts the molly down expecting maybe to follow up aggression alongside the dink if they heard it, but yeah, they're not going to be going for it. MOUZ are happy knowing that they're up against some weaker weapons to just utilize their advantage. Try and do some early damage with those nades if possible, but don't give anything away.
This call. I hate this call. 3 players queued up into A long. It's going to be the A hit. JDC there, ready and waiting. Has support from Frozen in towards Donut. Rotate available from torzsi as well. Just a matter of timing. That's a nice little smoke as well. Buys a little more time for that same rotation. And you can see MOUZ are feeling it. They know that there hasn't been the same kind of pressure on B that we've seen in prior rounds. The Flash is trying to draw the rotation away. And oh my goodness, it actually has. This is what I was talking about when we're talking about the experience versus talent. That's drawn a heavy rotate. That was one flashbang and it's drawn a lot, but Frozen is there. He stands tall. JDC with him to back him up. And those are 3 monumental kills. 30 seconds left on the clock. The flank, fortunately read by Bymas, you have to say, but it leaves Alex 1v5. He tries to play the smoke, but Dexter's too wise to those tricks. It's 16-11. It will be MOUZ who scrap their way to victory on Ancient, but I will say it is a scrap, Dean. It takes everything they've got, and Movi certainly weren't pulling their punches either.
No, and it did look like MOUZ maybe could have got a little bit